up, we have the LBA rules, and these are rules that only happen here in our league. So pay attention.
The LBA rules. Rule number 1, we already had covered that a little bit. Coach, rule number 4. If a coach doesn't want to use a timeout to substitute a player, he can have the player standing out of bounds by the opposing team's basket. Once the opposing team scores, the player can enter the game, but only after the player he's substituting for is completely off the court. The player must let the scorers at the scoring table know that he's about to get substituted in and who he's replacing. This is called a walk-in sub. This is new to the LBA. The walk-in sub is a good way to be able to substitute your players, and an alternate way to be able to substitute your players in the event that you no longer have a timeout. So if you this is one situation to where if you run out of timeouts, it's not all doom and gloom to where you can't sub a player out. You just wouldn't be able to sub multiple players out. I believe, to my knowledge, only one player can do that at a time, correct?
Yes, sir.
Exactly. So the walk-in sub, you can sub one player in. So say you have a really, really good player that wants to come back in the game, needs to come back in the game. You don't have any timeouts left. You won't be blocked out by not having any timeouts left. You can do what's called a walk-in sub, but you have to do it correctly in order for it to work, and in order to not get a technical foul, which would lead to the opposing team being able to shoot free throw. Rule number 2, backcourt, over and back, and the 10-second rule will not be a violation. The 10-second rule is referring to being in the backcourt for 10 seconds. What we're going to do is, second you inbound the ball, you have full access to the court for the whole 24 seconds. There's no over and back, so you can go over and then go back into the backcourt if you need to, if you need space. This right here is a three-point shooter's dream, because once you pass, especially if you're good at shooting from half court, if you're good at shooting from half court, this is gonna be wonderful for you. Our Steph Curry type players, our Trae Young type players, you're gonna love this because you're gonna be able to shoot from half court and you're gonna be able to run back and forth through the court without a violation. Depending on what happens, this may or may not change, but we're gonna see how it works in the first season of the LBA. Rule number 3 is referee rule 13. I see right here. Traveling will not be called if a player is in an open court situation or performing a dribble move while not being guarded. Other than these situations, traveling will be called as a violation. So if you're not guarded, you can travel as much as you want, is what we're saying. You cannot be guarded though. So kind of like the NBA kind of does it a little bit, but they don't, you know how they roll the ball on inbound, but they technically don't possess the ball. It's going to be different with us, where you will be able to, you literally could walk with the ball until you get defended. As soon as you get defended, you have to start dribbling that ball. You cannot walk and have say someone's guarding you and you start and you double dribble. It's a travel. You can't do that. You have to dribble. You have to dribble then at that point.
So this rule is like, if you are or were a fan of like the And One mixtape series, you can do stuff that they were doing, right? But if you are like getting guarded closely, you can't. You know what I'm saying? So if you want to bounce the ball and then roll on the floor, or put it back, and one type stuff. If you in the open court and not being guarded, you can do that. So it gives players the freedom to show off their dribbling moves and skills. But other than that, if somebody playing defense on you and you double dribble, you know what I'm saying? Violation. You're taking the ball the other way. So yeah,
definitely. So that one's a little different. And also, what was that? Also, rule number 4 which is player rule 5. Players are allowed to have nicknames on the back of the jersey. We already discussed this. As long as the nickname doesn't include profanity or negative words or phrases. So that's a given. We already discussed that. So you can put what you want on there as long as it's not anything crazy. Rule number 5, no fighting or threatening anyone. Now, we already discussed this, but we'll mention it again because this is very important. If a fight or threat occurs, the league owners will review and discuss this incident and decide on the penalty. More than likely, a penalty is going to come. The aggressor in the issue is automatically and permanently banned from future league events. Now, we'll determine whether they're going to be permanently banned, but we do know we know that they will be banned. I won't say if they're going to be permanently banned. It just depends on the situation. But for the state of the rule, we're going to say that players and coaches and staff should assume that they will be permanently banned if this happens. There's only rare cases where they won't be permanently banned for it. Rule number 6, and we've discussed this as well. If a contract violation occurs, the league owners will review, discuss, and determine what should happen next. So that'll be on us to do that. So those are the main rules of the LBA.